New kidney. Who dis? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to part two of my 10 things that I have pretty much experienced after receiving a new kidney. Just to recap, the first six. Number one was basically the bladder acting as if it was pretty much brand new since it hasn't been really used in a while, and having to go a lot more often for at least a month until it pretty much gets back to normal. Number two, the no nos, you know, of the types of foods and drinks that I can't have. And if you're new here, uh, you'll have to go back to my channel to see part one, and I kind of go more in depth on these things. Number three is about pretty much wearing a mask um, everywhere outside of the house. Um, and that's more like if I'm in a vehicle with other people in a building and there's a lot of people. Um, if I'm at home, of course I don't wear a mask. But if I do have a visitor and they're closer than 6 feet, I make sure that they have one. And again, I kind of go through that. Number four is basically a bunch of labs and follow ups. Um, Usually, the first month, you're making about 2 trips a week uh, for labs and follow ups, and possibly having your meds adjusted. Number five is basically being on weight restrictions. You just had, or I just had, major surgery, and it's been since the end of February. And the past recent visits from my follow ups, I always do ask if I'm still limited on what I can lift. Um, the most recent visit, I was told somewhat yes, but I can slowly start increasing the weight as long as I'm not straining. Again, don't want to damage the new kidney. And then number six is exercise. Basically, I was in bed for just about 3 weeks. Um, I was able to kind of get up and move to a different location, which is just a chair. But I would have to have either assistance or supervision, um, just so I didn't fall or anything. And then pretty much the last week, a little bit of walking around and stretches and uh, balancing tests with the physical therapist. And now that I'm home, I have exercises that I have to do. I saw a physical therapist for a couple of months. I think actually almost 3 months. But now I'm doing this solo, and just got to do it. Especially got to get the legs and everything stronger. But those were the first six things. I know I said a quick recap, but uh, now we have a few more to go over. So number seven is basically drinking more. I believe I mentioned it in the previous video that, being a dialysis patient, I was limited to about a liter a day, which isn't very much. Um, I would kind of go past it a little bit, but, I was what I was told, one of the good patients that followed what I was told. Um, and I went over about other patients that basically made it seem like they could still drink however much they want. But now having the transplant, I'm not limited anymore on how much I can drink. Um, just somewhat limited on what I can drink, and I uh, kind of went over that in the previous on number two. But um, this is just it's a little bit different. I can drink a lot more than what I did. It took a while to try to break the habit because I was still somewhat limiting on how much I drink, but I've been increasing it. Now I'm pretty much close to a gallon of fluid a day. And yeah, what goes in has to come out, and uh, it's an experience when you haven't been able to do that for about 8 years. Getting up, every hour, or maybe a little bit more now. But when you got to go, you got to go. But it is nice not really being restricted on what I can drink and how much I can drink. Um, I just definitely drink a lot more water than I used to. Uh, don't quite have sodas as much. And even if I do, they're bottle or can, and mostly the diet drinks. Number eight is basically, since the transplant, I can eat a lot more. Uh, there were a lot of foods that I had to pretty much stay away from when I was on dialysis. I had to be careful of the phosphorus intake, uh, calcium, vitamin C, and a few others. But the big ones were uh, potassium, calcium, and phosphorus. But now it's like I can eat pretty much just about whatever I want, um, except for what I said that I can't in number two. Uh, but I can eat more fruits now. I try to somewhat limit my dairy intake so I don't quite overdo it with calcium. And I think I still have to watch uh, what I take in for potassium. I was on a prescription to somewhat help with the potassium, but it wasn't working, so it had to be adjusted. I was taking off that, and about once a month, I have to make a trip to San Antonio for a breathing treatment, and that seems to basically help. And I know it's a long drive for, just a little breathing treatment, but I get to have a little fun in San Antonio once I'm done. But yeah, it's nice to be able to add a lot more different foods. And again, there are foods that I can't have. You have to refer to number two in the other video. But it is nice that, you know, I can kind of basically eat what I want. Okay, so number nine. This one's not really a biggie for me. It's just something that I was told. And once I go and explain it, uh, you'll see why it's not that much of a big deal for me. But basically, if you do have a transplant or a kidney transplant and you're on these non rejection meds and it suppresses or lowers your immune system, um, if you have any indoor cats, you are really not supposed to take care of the litter box by changing it or cleaning it, whatever, just because of you know possible bacteria and other stuff. And if you're changing out the whole litter thing, your weight restriction, because what a full litter box can get close to about 10 pounds, and especially if it's full of cat feces and pee and stuff. Uh, but mainly it's the bacteria and all that you're that you need to stay away from. So I don't have any indoor cats because they would pretty much tear up a lot of my collectibles. Um, so that's why number 9 doesn't really, it's not really a big deal to me, but it's something that I thought I would share, in case you or someone might be on the list of getting a transplant, something to kind of know after uh, you or the other person gets a transplant. So now we come to number 10. Basically, number 10 on the 10 things that I've experienced is gratitude. Basically, I've said I was on dialysis for 8 years. I was almost to that point that I didn't know or wasn't really thinking that it was going to happen. Because 8 years being on dialysis for 8 years is quite a long time. I know that I was told that my blood type is somewhat rare, and I believe I went over that in the first video. But just to recap, my blood type is B positive. It's found in most Asians and people with African descent. And if you know me, I am half Asian, more specifically half Filipino. So uh, that's why I was just kind of thinking that it really wasn't going to happen. But, when you least expect it, it happens. But I was definitely grateful that it did. Uh, I prayed and thanked God for the transplant. Um, and something I haven't done yet, and uh, either I'm just somewhat procrastinating or trying to think of the words, but I'm going to try to keep it simple, is sending a letter to the family of the person who donated. My understanding is uh, the kidney that I received was from somebody who had passed away. But I do want to, send them a letter of appreciation and gratitude. Um, I also was kind of putting it off because I think that the person who donated the kidney had recently passed away, so I just wanted to give some time for that. But I think it's time to send them, a letter, most likely an email. But definitely, I am grateful that this happened. Um, I'm feeling better. I'm not, as tired or exhausted 3 or 4 days of the week. Um, I'm able to kind of do more stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely very thankful that you know I was blessed to get a new kidney, and I'm definitely trying not to fall back into some of the bad habits that pretty much led up to the renal failure that I experienced, and then having to go you know on do dialysis. And I'm gonna try to keep this kidney going as long as it can. Um, I'll be lucky, or I guess I should say I would definitely be blessed if this new kidney lasts, about 20 years. Um, that's why I'm trying to do my best not to do anything to ruin it, because if this kidney uh, gets messed up, um, I would have to pretty much do the whole process again, uh, go back to doing dialysis, which definitely don't want to do that, and just having to wait again for another kidney, or whatever happens. But yeah, definitely, it's huge, showing gratitude. thankful to uh, my family. Uh, though they would check in while I was in the hospital, and a lot of them help out when I need it. I have some friends that came and visited me in the hospital. Um, Definitely thankful that some of them showed up, and my best friend who he did show up and uh, helps out every now and then when I need it when he's available. I have some other friends that share a lot of the same nerdy pop culture geeky stuff that we share in common. They've kept up, they've kept tabs on me, seeing how I'm doing, uh, and wanting to know, pretty much update on stuff. So definitely happy and grateful to them. So anyway, that's pretty much going to do it for my top 10 things that I've pretty much experienced after getting a new kidney. Um, if you if you made it to this part of the video and you find it what I've went over informational, I would appreciate it if you hit the like button. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. I will answer them. Um, it could be about the 10 things I went over, or anything else that I might have experienced. Or if you just have any questions about, you know, the whole process, I'll do my best to try to answer it. But I think this is going to do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. Um, I will probably do some more somewhat updates or anything new that I experience uh, with this new kidney. And hopefully you find it enjoyable and informative. But before I just keep blabbering on, uh, thank you all. And oh, I kind of almost forgot one thing about the gratitude thing. And this is another thing I've somewhat procrastinated on, but I'm going to do it here pretty soon. Is the uh, dialysis clinic that I was at for 8 years. I'm going to send them a little something just to show my appreciation for them taking care of me. When I was there, uh, some of them were former students of mine or just former students of the high school that I taught at. Um, but yeah, I want to, send them something for as a thank you for taking care of me for the past 8 years. Um, but that's going to do it. I'm just going to end it here. Y'all take care. Bye.